Now, some measurements are more important than others.
Sure.
Okay? And it really depends, what those measurements are depends on the system that you're analyzing.
Right.
And one of the things that I was responsible for at P&G was our digital marketing or website analytics project for a long time. So this is something that I've spent years of my life thinking about in one particular area. And there are some things that are easy to measure.
Right.
And there are some things that are actually the things you need to measure. And those two sometimes intersect and sometimes they don't.
Right.
So, a good example of a measurement that was easy to measure, but was actually not very important was called a page view.
Right.
So every time something requests a page from the site, the web server software would measure it. It would say, yep, this file was called up.
Like we got to click.
Yeah, or someone visited the site, or more accurately, some computer requested this particular site from our web server.
Oh, so maybe it wasn't even a person?
Maybe it wasn't even a person, which actually, one of the problems we had was our software was reporting visits from search engines. So like the Google robot visiting the site so Google could index the data.
No.
It was reporting that as a visit. And Google sometimes indexes sites on like every couple minutes.
Whoa.
And so it looked like there was a whole bunch of people who were coming to the site.
And it was Google.
And it was a search engine.
Okay.
But even further, that idea of a page view, like somebody called up this page,
Right.
it was, delivered once. What does that mean?
Right.
Really?
Did they have it up for 1 second? Did they have it up for like an hour?
Exactly.
It makes a big difference.
Exactly. And we're going to talk about context here in a little bit.
Okay.
But by itself, that number, page views, was absolutely meaningless. It told us nothing.
Right.
We couldn't do anything differently knowing how many page views they had and whether it was, even if it was higher or lower than last month or last year or whatever. Who knows? Who cares?
Okay.
That number didn't tell us about what was actually important.
Right. Okay.
And so this is a concept called key performance indicator.
Okay.
And, going back to the Albert Einstein quote I mentioned earlier, not everything that can be counted counts,
Right.
and not everything that counts can be counted. That's a good definition of key performance indicator.
Okay.
Key performance indicator are the things that you can count that actually count for something, that are important, that give you important information that you can do things differently.
Makes sense.
And if you can't use a measurement that you're looking at, it's not a key performance indicator. Okay, so page views are a good example. We could do nothing.
So it took them.
Yeah. So who cares? Easy to measure, but not important.
Right.
And the thing is, your key performance indicators are the things that help you measure what the system is actually trying to do. Okay, so think about the 5 core business processes as a deconstructed example of a business system.
Right.
Okay, key performance indicators tell you how well or how quickly you're performing each of those processes, right? Okay, so a key performance indicator for value creation is how much do you need to put in is 1, how much are you getting out is 2, and what the speed of the value creation system is. It's related to throughput. Okay, those 3 things, those 3 pieces of information, however you measure them for your particular business system, those are your key performance indicators.
For value creation.
Yeah, those matter. And if, those numbers, like if your inputs go up, that's important because you're spending more potentially to get the same thing.
Okay.
If your outputs go up, but you're not spending more, that's a really good thing.
I see.
If your system goes faster, that's a good thing.
Okay.
So, same thing goes for marketing. What are you trying to do? You're trying to get people's attention,
right?
Make them interested, and hopefully get permission, right? So, how well are you able to attract attention?
Right.
How interested are they, and how many people give their permission for you to follow up with them?
Okay.
Same thing with sales. How many prospects are entering your sales system?
Right.
And how many of them
are
exit,
actually buying something?
Yep. How many exit as customers?
Yeah.
And how much are they actually paying?
Right.
Those are all key performance indicators.
Okay, makes sense.
So,
There are a lot.
Yeah. But it really depends on the part of the system you're looking at, and you're just focusing on the essentials. I mean, it's really It's tempting to try to overload yourself with key performance indicators.
Yeah.
Really, if you're honing down to the critical parts of your system, you really only need probably 2 or 3.
Okay.
You don't, there's also the tendency, like, people like to have one number. Like, if this number goes
Right.
up, then we're doing good, and if this number goes down, we're not doing so well.
Doesn't always tell the whole story.
It doesn't tell the whole story
Yeah.
for a reason. We're going to talk about context here in a
Okay.
minute. But usually, you'll only have a very small set, 2, 3, probably maximum of 4 numbers that really give you the full picture of how this particular part of the system
Okay, so like
is working.
4 in each system.
Yes.
Approximately.
And those are either related to, critical inflows and outflows, or they're directly related to throughput. If it's not related to those things, it's probably not a
Okay.
key performance indicator.
Cool.
And that is how you actually make your measurements mean something.